Hey guys, thought I'd do a video about all my bikes here. So here's my little devil. I did videos on most of these bikes, so go back and check them out if you want to see something by itself. But here's the little devil I made from scratch. It's got a little Predator 99cc on it with Manco wheels. Here's my... This is one of the first bikes I ever made. It's all bicycle parts, and it's got the 3-horse Briggs on it. Banana seat. And here's my tandem. It's got the Tecumseh engine on it, and both back wheels are powered. Here's my ramrod. Actually, the only thing left ramrod on it is the frame, which I modified a little bit, but everything else is custom. The forks, the girder fork, and the rear swing arm and everything. The wheels are from a Chiefta Minibike, and the Briggs is a little bit souped up. Put a cam in it and things. Raptor rod. And here's my Rupp. I think it's a C350. Got a Briggs on it. It's pretty fast. And here's my cat. One of them. It used to be a, I forget the model, but it was a chopper. I made it into a more regular bike, but it's got a Briggs on it and torque converter. Put a big fat tire on the back, and seats all custom. And this bike's all from scratch too. I made it. The Briggs is a really nice 1964 unrestored, so I kind of built the bike in a vintage style to go with that. And here's another cat. This one's got a I think it's a 4-horse or maybe 5 Tecumseh. And I put a Mikuni carburetor on it. The seat's all custom and everything. I just got this as a frame and wheels, and everything else, the seat and engine, isn't factory or anything. And this one's all from scratch, board track style, with a cast iron Clinton engine on it. Leaf spring fork. This one's all from scratch also. It's mostly from all the bars and stuff are from a swing, like a porch chair kind of swing thing. I just cut up all the bends and put them where I needed them, and the engine's a Honda GC 160, 5-horse. Harley handlebars. I custom made the wheels, and this one's my dual engine Montgomery Ward's bike. The back end of it's independent from the front end. Got 2 engines on it. I made the forks and everything, and the sprockets. And custom seat. And the handlebars. Here's my heeled Super Bronc. I had this one the longest out of any of them. I got it from my uncle when I was little, like 5 or 6 years old, and restored it when I was about 20 or so. It's got a 10-horse Tecumseh on it and a torque converter. And here's the one I just built. It's all from scratch, utility bike. It's also got a Honda engine on it. Works really good with a torque converter. And here's it's a Rockford Tora with a Yamaha 175 two-stroke. It's really fast, really scary. The brakes don't work real good, and it's just kind of hacked together, but it's fun to ride once in a while. And here's my Honda Prix. I have a sidecar for this as well that I made. And here's my little custom Vespa. It's got a little Tecumseh two-stroke engine in it. And my track bike, it's got the Predator. 2-wheel drive, front and back. Alright, that's the lineup. Maybe I'll do one sometime of all my go-karts and things. I just picked this mower up out of the garbage, and surprise! Looks like the small end of the rod broke and pushed the block right apart. Crazy. Well, parts mower now. Alright, I had this Honda engine, so I swapped it on there. It's a GC160 probably. Not really sure. It's from a pressure washer. So I eliminated all the cables and things. And I couldn't use I disabled the self-propelledness because the adapter thing on the bottom, the pulleys weren't lining up, so I had a different adapter to put on there to adapt the blade onto it, and that worked because it was a short shaft and it wasn't threaded, so I had to drill and tap it and got that to work. And I took the little gears out of the front wheels there so it rolls easier without the self-propelled going, and it works good. Got a kill switch there, and so it's pretty simple.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have various groups of cars now returning to their respective locations on Franklin Street. We'd like to ask that you please remain behind the curb for your safety while the cars are being parked.
7-speed dual clutch automatic. That's a mouse, right? Yeah.
Alright, so I had to do a little maintenance on this bike. My brother took it over a big jump or something, so the frame here spread apart. I guess he had too much pressure on the foot pegs, and you know, with the shocks back here, it spread apart there a little bit. And the only way I really knew about that was the rack was like bent up. So I jacked it down, back together, and now it's fixed. I also had to put a new pull starter on here because the other one broke. So I repainted that and did a little paint touch-ups here and there.
Car's the same age as me.
At this time, I'd like to invite all of our
Wicked Pizza! Wicked Pizza.
I just picked up this starter motor from the junkyard. It's for my old Jeep. Well, maybe not my particular Jeep because I have a electrical solenoid to work it, but this one is all manual. There's no solenoid for the motor or the Bendix here. It's got this foot lever that goes up through the floorboard. When you want to start it, give it a kick there. It kicks out the Bendix, and then it goes a little more, and then the motor starts. And it's got power here full time. So it just simplifies things without all the electrical switches and solenoids to go bad. So that's pretty cool. The Jeeps use that, and I guess a bunch of the military trucks, the Dodges and stuff. This one's an auto light. Looks like MZ4137. I think it was rebuilt. Stamped in it right there. I'm not sure if it's 6 volt or 12 volt, but The 6-volt ones work okay on 12 volts anyway. They just spin a little faster. Alright, just thought I'd show you that. Thought it was pretty cool. See, this one doesn't have any of that on it. Just works off of the solenoid. But actually, I think it's not supposed to have the solenoid. It's supposed to use this floor starter switch here. But it's still all electrically activated instead of the manual style. And then the Bendix kicks out on its own. It's spring loaded, so it's a different style. The old Willys Go Devil engine. Flat.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
Do the whole car and then
You gotta go to
Oh my goodness. So I got a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. A couple of days ago I picked up like 7 bikes off the side of the road. So I got, these are just extra parts, but I got 2 working. They're up in the shed. And this one's almost done. Just gotta finish the got a brake cable to put back on it and then clean it up. But most of the parts were all there. I think I added 2 wheels and some other stuff on the other bikes. But so that was yesterday, and then the day before that I worked on these for a customer. A couple of compressors. This one he said was only pumping up to 40 psi, but it wasn't pumping up at all for me, so I figured out the O-rings in the head. They act as the head gasket, but one of them was coming apart and it got stuck in one of the revalves. So it was, you know, the reed valve wasn't closing all the way. So I cleaned all that up, and then I had to take it apart 2 or 3 times to get it to make the pressure again, but it's a tiny little cylinder, trying to fiddle with that. And then this one, that was pretty messed up too. There's a little nub that holds the connecting rod, which is like the crankshaft, but that nub broke right off the counterweight there. So I just found a bar that was the right size, and then I drilled out the counterweight where it was, and then I hammered it in there and chamfered the edge and welded it to the counterweight, that little nub, so it has a new, you know, nub to hold the connecting rod, and that seems to work now fine, so that's cool. And then I changed a couple of the fittings because they were leaking, so you should be happy with that. So, and then I'm also working on this trailer here. Got it from my neighbor for free. It was pretty messed up. The wheel bearings on one side was like the cap was missing, so it got all rusty and falling apart, and then the threads were all messed up too, so I redid the wheel bearings there and fixed the threads, and I had to buy new bearings for one side because they were all rusty. So got that fixed, and now I'm working on fixing everything else with it. I had to screw the wood back together a little bit, and I welded a bunch of stuff on the tongue here, and underneath here that bracket was ripped away from the frame there, so it's kind of too rusty to weld to, so I just made that U-bracket there to hold it in place. I think it seems pretty strong, so that'll work. And the fenders and the lights are all messed up, so I took all the lights off there. I got more up in the attic, new ones, so I'll work on that next. But I had to straighten out this fender, and I welded it right to the frame there. I gotta do that to this side too. It's all bent out of shape and stuff, so. And then for the back here, this beam that was all bent down and back, it looked like it got snagged on something, or maybe they tried to pull something with it. So I kind of hammered it up and bent it back in shape, but I'm gonna bolt it down to this wood better. And then I gotta work on the tailgate here. Put that back together, and I'm not sure how to use these hinges to kind of pin it at the top, but I'm not sure if I'm going to leave those or not. Probably make something different for that. And it's just for around the yard and stuff, but I don't know. It'll be roadworthy. Got the legs going on this thing. Starting to work on it. I got it set at the right height there, and now I could work on the lower part of the legs better. Alright, I did all I could do for now. Got one of the lights on there. Need a little aluminum bracket there, but I only have one light, so I'm gonna see if my brother can get one from work or whatever. So, and for this tailgate, took off some hinges and just put in screwed in some lag bolts there, and then cut them off and drilled them for a pin. So I think that'll be strong enough. Good enough for what it is. Check out this hammer I just fixed for my neighbor. It was splitting up the handle here like that, so I epoxied it and wrapped it with this wire. But he's been using this thing for the past 30 years, I guess, to split firewood with a hammer and wedge, you know. So it's seen some work. Look how much it got mushroomed over. It's crazy. I guess it looked like this one back when it was new. If you gotta put shock tops on, you can put your vice grips in here like this. And then you could screw it like this. be able to screw the top on here. And you could get your wrench in there and screw it on the rest of the way. Working on my CJ5 here, and I got a broken, cracked exhaust manifold here. It's got the Dauntless 225 V6 Buick engine. It's a 1967. It has a crack around the backside here. I had it patched up with this hose clamp for quite a while, and I use this asbestos mat stove rope stuff to clamp that on the crack, and then it sealed it up. But I have a new one from the junkyard here. Smoothed it out here, and there's a heat riser. I think the old one on here is gutted out. The flange is all messed up too, so I gotta look at that when it's off, but here's what it's supposed to look like. That's just for emission stuff anyway, but I think I'm gonna use the gutted one on the when I put it back together. 3 of the bolts came out easy. One of them was a little bit of a fight, and I've been using these twist sockets here for the last 2. I've still got one more to do. It's the bottom back one in there, but this bottom one here, I chiseled out the washer just with a chisel. I was able to chisel out the washer behind it, and that let me get those twist sockets on a little bit farther and have some more grip on it. So that's probably what I'm going to have to do with the back one too. And that came out. But none of them broke off so far. They unscrew pretty easy. Just seems like most of the tension's on just the bolt head. So I'm going to fight with that for a while, and then I'll show you it once it's apart. She's loose. That bolt's there still hanging on for dear life. I was able to air chisel it. That kind of mangled it enough to wreck the washer, but can't get any tool on it back there to get it loose, so still working on it. Yeah, that last bolt was sketchy. I almost broke it off, but got it out. I ended up, I got it jiggly, and then I was able to tilt it down, and then I air chiseled it a bunch, and I decided just to bust this ear off to get the manifold out of the way. And I was able to get the bolt out with the vice grips and some heat. There's the crack. Yeah, so this clamp worked pretty good with that insulation stuff on there, but since I had the new manifold, figured it was time to put it on. And this part's just like a heat riser thing for the emissions. It doesn't go into the manifold, it just goes straight through. There's a pipe. So I got this gasket material, exhaust gasket stuff, and got the new gaskets here. So I'm going to clean this up, maybe clean this up and see if it's salvageable. Alright, I stuck one end in the lathe. Came out pretty good. And this side I hit with the belt sander. Could probably go a little more, but it's pretty good. Good enough to seal. Making a lead hammer now. I got some miscellaneous lead here from metal detecting and wheel weights there. And I got this set up here. Just use the pipe here with a little knurling on the handle there. And I drilled and marred up the end there to grip into the lead a little better. So I found the can that was the right size. It's smooth sides and everything. It's it was from an old tire patch kit, and so I just put it in this can and used the rocks to take up the extra space and filled that hole there with sand so the lead won't come out. And it's ready to cast now. I'll just pour it in there and cut open that can, and then it should be a good hammer. Just kind of get a little more lead and make sure I have enough there for it. Should be enough. Pretty heavy there. Alright. Rowdy.